Teresa asks, I would love to know your stories about wrapping up EC with your 3 kids. Why do you think there was such a difference in age of completion, 9 months versus 17 months? Was it just your kids' personalities or because you were doing EC full-time versus part-time? When I tell people you can wrap up before a year, they say, well, you must have to work so hard to achieve that and not have any other kids distracting you. Okay, I'm so glad you asked this question, Teresa, because I've been dying to tell this story. Compare and contrast. You know, you're not supposed to compare your own kids, but we all do it anyway. Don't compare your kids to mine either. But what I will tell you is their personalities. So my first, second, and fourth babies have been very spirited, high needs. All of them had colic for like a long time, 3-5 months. Really bad, like you leave the room and they cry. Currently going through that with Branson. It's driving me nuts, but I know I read in Dr. Sears' baby manual book, whatever it is, the baby book, I read that, what's it called? Separation anxiety is normal between 10 and 14 months or so. So my third child, super laid back in that nothing bothered him, no colic. I actually had him unassisted. And I wonder often if the way he came into the world was just so peaceful that he just didn't have colic. I didn't have postpartum depression with him. What I can say about his personality is so laid back. He's an extremely sensitive person, and he's now 2.5, and he's now dry, knock on wood again, all the time, 99% of the time, even at night. But again, if I take the disposable off at night, he'll pee the bed. I just still can't figure that out, but I'm thinking anytime soon. His time frame is way different from my first. My first was also 2 weeks late. So if I adjust ages, I would say, and completion, you're saying like, when did I take them out of daytime diapers? Just to clarify for everybody, completion for me was I took them out of daytime diapers at 9 months, 17 months. My daughter I took out at 13 months. Personality is huge. Okay. Personality, if you've got a super laid back kid and then he's turned into a super sensitive kid, like today we went through 3 pairs of socks because all of them rubbed his toes the wrong way and he just wasn't really happy with all of them. He's really empathic. My first boy, somebody falls down, he doesn't even notice usually. I mean, no offense against him. He's not that kind of person. And he's always not been super cuddly and all that until recently, but Cooper, my third, who was 17 months when I took him out of daytime diapers, was really super cuddly and just more of a baby, Okay. I was doing EC full-time with both of them, though. I have to say, it's just the way I do EC full-time is I'm always thinking about it. I'm always considering it. I'm always, always, always aware of their hygiene and their rhythm and where they are in the day, all 4 kids. But there are certain times when I would, I really need to finish dinner because I have 4 kids now. It's okay if we have a miss is the thing. So it's like full-time with grace, with like a little eased. It's a bit of an easy sort of laid back way that I do it. So full-time EC laid back is what I would call it because I'm always aware of it. I never use the diaper as a toilet ever. But if there's a signal and I'm not really sure about it and I'm in the middle of frying eggs, I'm just going to say, hey, if you need to go, if you can wait. I mean, it makes me feel like I'm actually not really full-time. I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks about what I do. What I do works. I'm always aware of it, right? I'm always striving to be aware of it and help them stay dry and help them learn things. So second thing. So first thing, personalities. Yes. Big factor. Second thing, I had put Cooper into daycare, preschool at 15 months, 14 months, 14 months old. So I didn't have him all the time like I had my first. And the problem there lies in, I am actually outlining the mini course on working part-time with daycare and all that stuff because it's an issue. What happens is he learns who's going to take him or not. And there's, I got to hand it to you. Our teacher, Laura was great, but he had a lot of resistance in there because of the differences between there and home. And it definitely set back that age of getting out of disposable diapers to later as versus Kaiba, who was out at 9 months. Third thing is Cooper never, ever, ever gave me hell when I changed his diaper, ever. With Kaiva at 9 months, he started walking at 9.5 months. We had major diapering struggles. And I was just like, this is not right. So I started to change him standing up. And then I changed him to training pants. And all they had back then were Gerbers. They did not have my tiny trainers. I have to brag there. That if I would have had tiny trainers back then, I would have been way happier. He'd pee and it would go straight into the ground. And it was just like a faucet. But I took him out of the diapers and we weren't necessarily finished with the process. I mean, to be honest with you, around 17 months, Kaiva was like telling us every single time. Until then, he had accidents, plenty of them. So then look at my second kid, Isadora. 13 months, I took her out of daytime diapers. We got back on track at 8 months. Get the mini course on getting EC back on track if you want to see that whole process with her. 8 months, we got really serious. We were doing it lazy as ever. Until then. 13 months, took her out of diapers just because there was no reason for them. 15 months, she was telling us every time, never looked back. Okay. I have to say there's also a difference between girls and boys in my experience. I find that I can tell my daughter, who's 4 now, go into my bedroom next to my bed. There is a box of tissues and next to it is a cord. It's not plugged into the wall. Please bring it to me so I can plug in my phone. She will come in here, grab it, come back to me. If I sent Kaiva or Cooper on the same journey, they would never come back, or they would come back empty-handed, because I think that personalities are so ingrained of hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers that we very much had to differentiate roles up until recently. The hunters are single-focused and they hunt usually in groups, so they help each other out. The gatherers are like super keen on just do all my little errands and be done, right? And now I realize that there are some people who veer towards gender neutral. The underwear I make is gender neutral. I'm cool with that. That's fine. And even children in my dance class every Sunday, it's a freestyle dance. They come in and they don't identify with gender. They all look kind of the same in this one family. But I've talked to the mom and she's like, yeah, my daughter completely is attracted to dolls. And my son is completely attracted to punching, hitting, rolling, slapping, and trucks. And she's like, and I did not ever, advise either way. So I'm going to say gender for my own family is a big difference because I see a big difference between my children. Okay. And I only have one girl, so I'm not sure. And I do know there's another girl in dance who is not like my daughter at all. And she's such a tomboy, but she's been at my house before and she also can't find her own shoes and stuff. So there's some girls who are really good at mapping, like where are the blueberry bushes, where are the raspberry bushes? Can I find my way around and know which is poisonous or not? And then there's some girls who are more veering towards masculinity these days because we're kind of blending, and that's fine too. So anyway, back to the question. So personality, yes. Gender, I would say in my own family, yes. But again, Cooper and Kaiba were both boys. Colic, the way they started out in their life, how often I was with them and around them or not. And then having multiple children, I wouldn't say that that's a big part of it. I think I personally involve everybody in this process of learning. We love the baby. Who's the baby now? Branson's the baby now. At breakfast this morning, I think Branson needs to poop, Mom. That's what Isadora said. All right, guys, eat your food and we're going to be right back. So my kids know that baby care is super important and that we all get to participate in that. And it's not just mommy's job, but kids in like big communities and natural communities, they would have a say in raising each other, So I definitely employ that technique. It's from the continuum concept. I really got that idea of letting my kids care for the young ones, not as a primary caregiver, of course, but just as helping them feel utilitarian. They're utilized. They're a valuable part of this family, and that we all help with the babies. And Cooper is still very immature for his age, the one who was out of diapers at 17 months. But I think daycare probably had the biggest difference, besides the personality, right? And then wrap up before a year. Well, you know what? With Branson, like I just said, go rewind at the beginning of this video if you're seeing this later, or if you want to look at it later, where I explain what I'm doing with Branson right now. I'm taking him out of daytime diapers. It really is just a decision. With Cooper, we had just moved into this new house. We had a lot of transition, a lot of remodels still not done. So there was a lot in life. I wouldn't say kids distracting me, but life distracting, right? We didn't make that decision to focus on Probably a potty training experience would have been better for him if I wanted to get him out of diapers sooner. But what I was doing is, okay, what's his personality? What's the situation with daycare, with preschool? And we did start sending him in training pants. And that's in my Wrapping Up EC mini course, which you can post a link to that, Anna. How I prepared him and preschool for wrapping it up. I just got tired of it. I was like, this is a long time. He was dependable on poops for a really long time. It was really me being lazy and me choosing to use a diaper as a backup for longer. And as you can see, I've redirected course with number 4, Teresa. I have decided I'm not going to do that. And I am going to put him in daycare. And as long as he's poop trained, I will send him in training pants with my new little Tiny Ups covers. And I already know the teacher, and I know that she'll be willing to do it, because it's not about how many wets you get. It's about equipping them with the right materials. And if you're catching all the poops anyway, and there's, cloth, if they're willing to do cloth diapering, they're willing to do training pants, and that's what we're going to do. I have learned from number 3, and a lot of it I would say is my fault. But again, still done before 18 months, which was my goal. By the way, I was having a new child at 18 months. It's another reason for stopping using diapers at 17 months with Cooper. Oh my gosh, we're about to have another baby, and I'm not having 2 in diapers, even if Cooper hardly ever pees in them or poops in them. We're just being lazy, so let's wrap it up, So that's my whole story. I will stop there.